with nutrition. She's done bodybuilding contests, help people cut weight for activities like that, and just for simple dieting needs. So if you're interested in doing some nutritional counseling with Sierra, she is available to do that. She also does personal training. But today what we're here for is to go through a couple of things that will, you know, as you're doing your workouts, what will help you lose weight a little bit quicker? Or what foods can you eat that will help you burn those calories faster? And this is a great resource for you. So, you know, when you see Sierra, you got a question, grab her, nail her down, find out, oh, what about this? What about that? And today, do the same thing. She's here as your resource. If there's something you've just been dying to know about, now's the time. And by the way, there's not a stupid question. Sometimes we think, oh, I don't want to ask that because I'm going to sound really stupid. And, you know, if you're thinking of it, somebody else is probably thinking of it too, but is scared to raise their hand as well. So please feel free. Also, I've turned the air off because it was kind of cold, so if it does get warm in here, just let me know and I'll come back and turn it on. And now I'm going to turn it over to Sierra. So let's welcome her. Thank her for coming today. All right,
guys. So just a quick thing, you know, aside from being a personal trainer and stuff, I also am, like you said, a certified fitness nutrition specialist. So, you know, like you said, I do the private nutrition consultations and personal training, and I work with all body types and skill levels. I know people get a little thrown off by the bodybuilding thing sometimes, but I work with everybody, okay? So, if you ever have any questions. All right, so, let's see if we can. So a lot of people have the question, you know, how do I eat? Have you ever gotten frustrated with, you know, your inability to lose weight? You go to the gym, you're here for hours a day, but you don't make any progress, or you make a certain amount of progress, but then all of a sudden you stall out and you feel like you're not making any changes anymore. And there's a reason for that. So whether you're trying to lose weight or build muscle, both at the same time, whether you just want to improve performance or feel better, your nutrition plays a huge role. And in fact, it's the biggest role of all. So the basic breakdown of nutrition, the macronutrients. They're the main sources of nutrition that our bodies use to function. And these are carbohydrates, fats, and protein. I know you've all heard those before. It's important to realize that none of these specific macronutrients are bad. A lot of the time, carbs and fats, they get kind of a bad rap. People, you know, oh, don't eat carbs, don't eat fat, you'll get fat. But the truth is, you know, we need them. We need all three of the macronutrients. The difference between good nutrition and bad is choosing the right kinds of fats and carbs and eating them at the right time, and most of all, in moderation. So, carbohydrates. Carbs are what the body uses for energy. If there's too much energy, so if you eat more than what your body needs, your body takes the carbs and it stores them as fat to use for energy later in case it needs it. So does this mean that carbs are bad? No, absolutely not. Your body needs them to function, but just like everything else, it's important to pick the right carb sources, such as fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, over sugary and processed foods. A good general rule is to avoid the basic white carbs, which are things like white rice, white sugar, white potatoes, and white bread, sugar cravings. So the more you eat, the more you want to eat. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle. So if you can, stick to more brown and whole wheat varieties. There are some exceptions, and then we'll talk about that a little later. All right, so this is kind of the biggest thing. Everybody talks about low-fat diets. Come on in, guys. Will eating fat make me fat? And it really depends on what type. Fat in general will not make you fat. In fact, it's one of the main sources, it's the most nutrient dense of the macronutrients. But eating too much of the wrong kind will make you fat. So the bad fats are called saturated fats and trans fats. Another word for trans fats is hydrogenated. You've ever seen that on like peanut butter, you know, hydrogenated soybean oil? It's pretty much code word for fat. The good fats are monounsaturated and polyunsaturated, or omega-3. I know you've all seen that omega-3 enriched and kind of been, you know, whatever that means. These fats are helpful to your body, and in some cases, like the omega-3s, they help your body burn fat. So that when you eat the good kinds, you're burning the bad kinds off. So protein. Without a diet rich in the essential amino acids, which are the nutrients found in protein, we cease to function. So a good general rule for everyone is to eat 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight. So if you weigh 120 pounds, you want to try to get about 120, 110 grams of protein. And that's for optimum performance and health. Protein is important for all of our functions. It helps build and maintain our muscles, keeps our organs running smoothly, and helps improve our performance. So adequate amounts of protein will not only help improve body composition and help your body fight sickness, but it will make you feel fuller longer throughout the day. So protein comes from sources like meat, fish, eggs, and low-fat dairy. And so even though there's some controversy, you've heard, probably before, that eating too much protein can be bad for you, it's been proven through research that a diet high in protein is not harmful or unhealthy to you. So in other words, you can't overdose on protein. All right, so the key thing in all of this is moderation. Have you ever eaten so much where, you feel a little, like you have to lean back and you feel like you might explode a little bit? That's not only uncomfortable, but it's really bad for your body. When you stuff yourself full like that, your body, it can't deal with the excess. So it just gives up and stores it all as fat. It doesn't even bother trying to deal with it. So check the serving size on labels. Like a bag of chips, you look at it and it says, oh, only 150 calories, that's awesome. But if you look at the serving size, it's only 150 calories for 4 chips. So keep an eye on serving size and, plan accordingly for that. If you keep your food intake in check, nothing should be totally off limits to you. You don't have to go on a really strict diet and never eat cake again. As long as you eat your cake in moderation, you'll be fine. One of my coaches in high school, he was an Olympic gymnast, crazy 8-pack, muscles out to here, and he has a bowl of ice cream every single night before bed. And he still is in fabulous shape, and it's because he has that moderation that he can do that. So as long as you don't go overboard, you can eat the food you like. So the bottom line is when you feel full, stop eating. So water. Water protects your body and your organ and tissues, keeps everything all lubricated inside your body. It carries your nutrients to your cells, and it regulates your body temperature. It also flushes out all the bad things that you breathe in or you eat during the day. The cool thing about water is even drinking just 2 cups of cold water can make you burn about 20% more calories during the day. And over a year, if you drink 2 cups of cold water a year, you can lose 5 pounds just from that. And feeling thirsty means that you are already dehydrated. So you want to drink water steadily throughout the day, even if you don't feel thirsty. And drinking water before you eat your meals can make you feel a little fuller, and therefore you'll eat less at that meal. So if you go out to a restaurant or something, and they fill your water up before they bring you your food, go ahead and drink your whole glass of water before you eat your food, and that way will help you with your moderation. All right, everybody's heard this. Everybody's mom says eat your vegetables. But why is it important? Vegetables have nutrients in them that your body needs, but it can't make on its own. So eating enough veggies, as much as 10 servings in a day, can help prevent certain diseases and even certain cancers. Another great thing about veggies is that they're full of fiber, which means they're not only helping your digestive system by cleaning out all the bad things in your gut, but they make you feel fuller longer after you eat them. So you're more likely to eat less throughout the day. A cup of broccoli will make you feel full like you just ate, a whole plate full of nachos or something. Some veggies, like broccoli and soybeans, also contain chemicals that punch up your fat-burning abilities. So broccoli and soybeans, after you eat them, you're actually burning more calories the rest of the day. All right, so I know you've all gone to the grocery store and flipped to the back of, to read the nutrition label, and you really have no idea what you're looking at, but that's what you're supposed to do. I've done that too. All right, so what you're looking for on a nutrition label. For good things, you want to look for the fiber content. That'll be under the carbohydrates. The more fiber a product has, the healthier it is. It makes you feel fuller, like we said, helps with your digestive system, so look for products with high amounts of fiber. Protein, monounsaturated fats, and polyunsaturated fats are all beneficial too, as well as non-sugar carbohydrates. So when you're looking at the fat content, check that it has monounsaturated and polyunsaturated, but does not have trans fat.
Do you have some samples of both of those? Or are you going to do that later? Like, what are some good foods or items that are full of fiber?
I do. I have a superfood list that I'm going to pass out to everybody as well. All right, so bad things. When you're looking at a product, you want to check the ingredients list. See, all these words, hydrogenated, high fructose corn syrup, maltodextrin, aspartame, corn syrup, or hydrolyzed, these are all code words for nasty chemicals that your body does not want or need. Also, avoid added sugars and anything with trans fats. And check the sugar content. So underneath the carbohydrate part of the label, it will say sugar. Check that the amount of sugar is less than half the total carbs. So if something has 20 grams of carbs and 18 grams of sugar, it's mostly sugar, and it's probably something that you don't really need that much. All right, so now that you have your basic breakdown, carbs, fats, and protein, how do you apply that to your everyday life? Right, this is a question I know a lot of you guys have, especially here coming to the gym all the time. What should I eat before a workout? To get through your workout, you really need good quality fuel, which means eating slow digesting, low glycemic carbs. And what are those? Things like whole rolled oats, whole wheat bread, and sweet potatoes. Try to eat these about an hour before your workout. These are slow digesting, means that your body is breaking it down over a period of time. So instead of getting all that energy all at once, you're getting it a little bit at a time as you need it. And if you're in a rush, if you just got off work, you only have 10 minutes to get to the gym, grab an apple or an orange right before working out for a surge of good muscle building energy. Apples and oranges are a little higher on the glycemic index, so they're faster releasing. Not like the slow releasing carbs, but they're not pure sugar, so they're going to give you a good quick burst of energy rather than a bad quick burst of energy, and you won't have a crash afterwards.
So can you kind of repeat that about what the glycemic index is when, let's say I eat potatoes, I start eating potatoes. Those are going to go through my body faster?
Slower. Well, it depends on whether you have white potatoes or brown potatoes. Like we said earlier with the carbs, try to avoid white varieties of food. So sweet potatoes, yams, those sort of things are a little bit slower, whereas fruit tends to be a little higher on the glycemic index. The glycemic index is not really something that you should worry about too much. It's a little more detail-oriented, but things that are really sugary are higher and therefore should rate lower in your diet. It's kind of an inverse property there. Things like ice cream and honey, pure sugar, stuff like that is going to be very high in the glycemic index, which means the glycemic index basically is a measure of how much insulin your body releases after you eat something. So the lower it is, the less insulin, and the less likely you are to store it as fat. So you want it, the lower it is on the glycemic index, the higher it should rate in your diet, because you're less likely to store it as fat. What should I eat after a workout? So right after exercise, your body handles carbohydrates the best. Your tolerance is the highest. So this is, if you don't want to cut out, all your cookies and your cake and stuff, this is the best time to eat that. Because right now, your body, you just kind of beat yourself up a little bit. Your muscles are ripped up, and you need to recover. So things like white bread and rice, pasta, and other sugary carbs. Your body takes this extra energy straight to your muscles rather than storing it as fat. It has a use for it, puts it right to work rather than saving it for later. And this is a good incentive to work out. So, if you exercise, you get to eat your carbs. If not, too bad. So, you gotta earn your sugar. All right, so I know we've all thought about this at one point or another. If weight loss is all about limiting calories, isn't it better to just skip a meal, just not eat it? And no way, you guys, this is the worst thing you can do to yourself, starving yourself. You don't ever want to do that. Skipping meals make your body think that it's starving. Your body doesn't know that we're a civilized society. It thinks we're still, back in the dark ages where famine was a real thing. And so if you starve yourself, your body thinks that there is no supply of food. And so it goes into starvation mode and stores everything that you take in. It doesn't burn your extra fat. So if you skip a meal, you burn much less calories, are more likely to store fat, and you're more likely to binge at your next meal because you're a lot hungrier. So don't ever, I know it's tempting, but you have to eat to lose weight, you guys. All right, what should I eat right before bed? Because carbs are used for energy, if you eat them before you go to sleep, your body doesn't need them. You know, what do I do with this? I'm going to sleep. So it gets converted to fat and stored for later. Try to eat, or try to wait 2 hours between bed and your last meal, and if you have to eat before bed, stick to high protein meals, such as lean meat, low-fat cottage cheese, or eggs. You want to avoid carbohydrates right before you go to bed. Your body doesn't need them. All right, what does alcohol do to my diet? I know everybody wants to have a little cocktail now and then, you know. A little alcohol, it actually isn't as bad as you might think. It gets kind of a bad rap, mostly because, like we talked about earlier, people don't moderate themselves. And, you know, you have 8 glasses of wine before bed, of course you're going to gain a little weight. But actually, in moderation, some kinds of alcohol have certain health benefits. Red wine has been shown to help prevent heart disease. The hops in beer help boost your immune system and can even help prevent cancer. But it's all, you know, all about moderation. You can't drink a 6-pack and think, oh, you know, I'm preventing cancer.
Isn't there a lot of sugar in alcohol too?
There actually isn't sugar in alcohol, but fruity drinks, you know, if you go out and have a lemon drop, that's pretty much just, you know, sugar with a little bit of alcohol in it. So you want to avoid the really sugary cocktails, the mixed drinks, things like that. But things like red wine, even white wine, you know, straight beers, not really that bad as long as you don't take it in excess, because that will lead to weight gain. So the bottom line is that you don't have to cut it out, just keep everything to a minimum. All right, so is it bad to season my food? And no, actually, it's really good to season your food. It makes, you know, you don't want to eat food that doesn't taste good. So make your food taste good, even if it's healthy for you. Healthy food doesn't have to be, you know, doesn't have to taste like cardboard. But you do want to avoid anything, you know, like we said earlier, with added sugar, hydrogenated oils, and trans fat. These sort of things, like we said, these are code words where your body just stores them as fat. You don't need them. But if you can't live without them, you know, you've got to have your mayonnaise on your sandwich. Just keep it to a minimum. You know, don't squeeze the mayonnaise bottle for 10 minutes and just smear a little bit on there. But seasonings such as cayenne, garlic, and ginger not only help your food taste good, but they also punch up your fat burning capabilities. So those you can pile on as much as you want. A lot of bodybuilders I know actually will take cayenne pepper in a capsule form to help cut weight right before a show. All right, guys, so I have some basic 5 habits for you to follow. Go ahead and grab one and pass it around. Whoops, I'm sorry, I'll just throw that at you. Yes, on that side, awesome. Grab one and pass it around. All right, so following these 5 basic habits that I have on the sheet for you will naturally lead to improvements in health, energy, and body composition. And they're really easy, you guys. I'm not going to make any life-altering changes for you right now. Just simple things that you can do every day to really make a difference. So the first habit is to eat every 2 to 4 hours. I know we all have a thing, you know, eat your 3 balanced meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's actually a little bit antiquated, and a lot of new research has shown that eating every 2 to 4 hours, more frequent, smaller feedings, is much better for you and keeps your metabolism stimulated throughout the day. So eating multiple smaller meals stimulates metabolism, balances blood sugar, and helps maintain lean body mass while giving your body a good reason to burn off that extra fat mass. So this can be, you know, 5 to 6 moderately sized meals, or, you know, if you work all day, you don't really have time for that, break up your 3 large meals with 2 or 3 small snacks in between. When you go longer than 4 hours without eating, your body goes into fasting mode again. And so you're not burning as much calories because, like I said, your body says, oh, we're starving, so, you know, save it for later. This also makes it easier to get in all your servings of veggies and protein that you need. Like we said on the veggie, you know, slide, you want to get at least 10 servings of veggies. But if you're eating that, you know, in only 3 meals, that's a lot. You know, you gotta have like a giant salad at every meal. So eating 5 or 6 meals makes it a lot easier to get in all your servings of veggies and meat. All right, habit number 2. Eat complete, lean protein with every meal. So the only way to get the nutrients, called amino acids, from protein is to actually eat protein. Our bodies don't make these essential aminos, so it's crucial to get them from dietary sources. An interesting fact that I myself just recently learned is that 50% of people who've been admitted to the hospital in North America are malnourished. And I think that's, we don't think about being malnourished here because, this is America and we're very civilized, but 50% of people in America are malnourished. So a serving size of protein is about the size of your open palm. Men should get about 2 servings and women should get about 1 serving per meal. And examples of a complete lean protein include poultry, ground beef, eggs, fish, low-fat dairy, tofu, and the milk protein supplements you see all those big guys drinking. If you look on the back of the sheet I just handed out, I have a protein chart for you guys there, and it has all these on there so you can keep this on your fridge, a quick cheat sheet of what you may need to eat. Oh yeah, I'm going to grab some of these. All right, habit number 3. Eat your veggies with each meal. So like we learned earlier, veggies play a big role in keeping our bodies healthy. The same goes for fruit, although you want to eat less fruits and vegetables because, like we talked about earlier on the glycemic index, fruit can, if you eat it too much, your body says it's got the higher energy, the more sugar, so your body will store it more likely than it will vegetables. So you want to try to get 2 servings of veggies or fruit with each meal. And a serving of veggies is 1 cup of leafy vegetables like spinach or lettuce, 1 medium-sized fruit, or a half cup of chopped fruit or vegetables. So, a serving isn't that big. It's not that scary. Just 1 cup of chopped broccoli and there's your 2 servings. That's all you need. And like we said earlier, veggies can help prevent certain cancers and diseases, as well as preserve bone strength and muscle mass. All right, habit number 4. So eat your other carbs only after exercise. So like we said earlier, your body responds best to carbohydrates right after you just worked out and beat it up. So sugary carbs, they don't have to be removed from your diet, but the best time to eat them is right after you work out. And there are some exceptions, but for the most part, keep your consumption of processed carbs to right after workouts, which is when your body can use them instead of just storing them as fat. Your body takes it right out to your muscles and it's spent making lean body mass rather than fat mass.
Yeah, what is the good part that you might want to eat that after the workout, which is the good thing to eat?
Oh, the good thing to eat. Okay, so just look over again. I've got a carb chart for you, and it has a list of either exercise or recovery drinks, simple sugars such as breakfast cereal, soda, fruit juice, and those things you want to eat only immediately after exercise if you're eating them at all. Good things, the whole grain and starchy carbohydrates, bread, whole grain pasta, whole grain rice, sweet potatoes or yams. Those are the kind of good carbs that you want to eat most of throughout the day. And so you guys have this as well, keep it on your fridge, check it out, and it tells you, you want to eat, your recovery drinks only during exercise. You want to eat your sugar and ice cream only right after you work out, that kind of thing. Right. And habit number 5. So eat your healthy fats daily. I know everybody has you're kind of fat makes you nervous. You see it's got a high fat content and you immediately think, I can't eat that. It's going to make me fat. But that's not true. Don't be afraid of fat. Almost 30% of our diet should come from it. Healthy fats can be found in foods such as avocados, peanut butter, nuts, fish, and some vegetable oils. But again, the important thing is to choose the right kind of fat. Anything that contains the word hydrogenated or items containing trans or saturated fat, these are all unhealthy fats that your body can't use and therefore store. Healthy fats are good for your cholesterol, metabolism, and blood vessels. So if your doctor says you've got kind of high cholesterol, you want to use those omega-3s and poly and mono unsaturated fats that we talked about earlier. All right, guys. So none of your macronutrients, carbs, fat, or protein are bad for you in and of themselves. Don't be afraid of any of them. The difference between healthy and unhealthy diet is knowing how to choose the right kinds of carbs and fat. And you have to eat to lose weight. Okay, I said it before, I'll say it again. Do not skip meals or starve yourself. That makes your body only hang on to those fat stores and makes losing weight even harder. But do everything in moderation. You can have too much of a good thing. Overeating can damage your insides and lead to weight gain. Alright guys, so I think that about covers it. I also have a list here of the 21 superfoods. Go ahead and grab some and pass it around. And these are just all foods that contain, your healthy fats, your good lean meats, all that good stuff. Does anybody have any other questions?
Questions? You have questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Raise your hand.
Yes.
Loud and proud.
Thanks. Is juicing considered a meal?
Juicy?
Juicing. Yeah.
If you're juicing vegetables,
Yeah.
I wouldn't count it as a meal, but count it as your servings of vegetables. Or count it as your serving of fruit. If you're juicing your own, that's totally great, but if you're buying juice from the store, again, check that it doesn't have lots of added sugars.
Right.
A lot of fruit juice is just, cavities disguised in a bottle.
Right.
So check and make sure that it is actual fruit juice and not,
Yeah, I have a juice at home, so I've been juicing vegetables and fruits, and then times where I'm not hungry, or if I know it's late at night, I'm making a smoothie, putting some hemp protein powder in, or I don't know.
No, that's great. That's great for getting, because you do need 10 servings of fruit and veggies, which can seem like a lot. So juicing it is a great way to get those servings in. And another thing, like you said, the shakes. Things called super shakes are really great, if you're in a time crunch or you're not super hungry, add some oats or add some protein and make it like a whole meal in a thing, and that would be a meal replacement. But just juiced veggies or fruit, don't count it as a meal replacement, but count it as your servings of fruit and veggies.
Great.
Really. Anybody else? Yes.
When you plateau from losing weight, is there any foods that you should start eating more of to start losing weight again?
When you plateau, it's because
First, explain what plateau is, so everybody understands where she's coming from.
all right, so plateau, I know we've probably all done this. You're working out and you're making progress, and then all of a sudden you stop making progress. And you can't keep losing weight. And no matter what you do, you feel like you're just stuck at this certain weight. That's what a plateau is. And when that happens, it's because when you weigh a certain amount, you need a specific amount of calories to either maintain or lose from that weight. And when you lose weight, that amount of calories changes. So if you keep eating the same amount of food, you're just going to stay the same.
Your body gets more efficient. What happens is as you start losing weight, all of a sudden your body gets pretty efficient at losing weight. And it says, okay, I'm pretty comfortable where I am. But you still want to lose 10 more pounds, right? So you're stuck at this, what we call a plateau. So go ahead and take it from there.
Say you're taking in the average 2,000 calorie diet, and all of a sudden you've lost 10 pounds and you're feeling great, but now you can't lose any more weight. That's because your body has adjusted to that amount of food that you're taking in. So you have to either decrease it some more or increase your exercise some more to adjust for your new body weight and type. Everybody tries to eat and exercise for what they used to be, but you have to adjust to what you are now. So when you make those changes, when your body goes through those changes, you have to make those changes to your diet accordingly. So the best thing for you to do would be to either reduce your intake or, stick to those 21 superfoods on the chart or increase your exercise to bust through that plateau. Absolutely. Yeah.
I want to gain 10 pounds.
If you want to gain 10 pounds, then you need to eat more. So you're talking about you obviously want to get bulkier, like more lean mass. So you want to increase the amount of the good clean foods that you're eating. Way more protein. You need way more good, healthy, slow digesting carbs, and you need to keep increasing that as you gain weight. Otherwise, you'll just stall out again.
Well, what if you have a fat metabolism?
Then you gotta keep pouring it in. A lot of bodybuilders have that problem because the more muscle you have, the more energy you need to keep that furnace running. And so in order to keep from losing muscle, you got to keep, some of them, they talk about, they got to eat, 5 pounds of chicken in a day. It's awful. So the faster your metabolism is, you just got to keep pouring food into yourself, even if you're not hungry. Yeah, that's a tough one.
I'm always hungry.
Would it be too much to have like a hard-boiled leg for breakfast? I mean, that's your protein, and then for lunch, another hard-boiled leg? I always worry about it being too much cholesterol.
No, absolutely not. No way. 1 egg has only about 4 grams of fat in it. So, like personally, I eat almost 2 dozen eggs a day. So you're totally fine with your 2 hard-boiled
yolk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you're eating, I eat mostly egg whites, but if you're eating, 2 dozen egg yolks, that might be a little much, but 2 eggs, even as much as 6 egg yolks a day is not going to be harmful for you because it gets a bad rap, but it's usually combined with a diet that's high in sugar that makes that high cholesterol.
What if you already have cholesterol and you need that certain foods to keep up your protein, but you're afraid to do eggs because you already have cholesterol?
Okay, well, the thing about cholesterol is that there are both good and bad cholesterol. And eggs are pretty high in good cholesterol, which will help balance out your bad cholesterol. It's kind of, the more you have of bad, the less you have of good. So the more you have of good, the less, the more you can fight that bad cholesterol. So egg yolks, unless you're eating 20 of them along with, an entire cake every day, it's really not, a lot of these studies where people say, eating egg yolks is bad or diet soda is going to make you fat. A lot of the studies are done on people who don't really work out, who don't eat that great of diets to begin with. So these things in and of themselves are not bad. So like I said earlier, the egg yolks, you're totally fine with 2 hard-boiled eggs. You might even want to eat a little more because there's not a lot of protein in one, 1 egg has 12 grams, so maybe you can go 2 times a day. So you're fine there. Anybody else?
You have another. Can you give us some examples of, it sounds like we need to take in more protein, more vegetables. Can you give us some samples of, what kind of protein specifically? Is it fish? Is it chicken? And if it is chicken, it's not Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? Or if it is Kentucky Fried Chicken, is it the baked? Can we eat that? What are some choices that we can make when we end up going to, I see like on applications now, so I guess it's a 2-part question. They say, you can eat fast food and still lose weight. Is that true? Are there things we can choose at these fast food places, or should we just stay away from them completely? So first question, give us some examples of protein. Second, what are choices that we should or should not make at a fast food joint?
Okay, so for protein, like we were talking about earlier, if you feel like you're not getting enough protein in your diet, you can supplement with like those shakes, or just, add, like on this protein chart I gave you, add another piece of chicken breast whenever you're eating. Add, to your morning egg, add 1 more egg white. Just those power bar things, for the most part, they're kind of sugary, but there are some that are really good just to give you a quick burst of energy throughout the day.
Do you know if good power, I get that question a lot actually. I need a power bar to eat in between a class or before I go to class. Are there power bars that you can recommend that taste good and are good for us? Because a lot of them I've tried taste like cardboard or sawdust.
I really like Balance bars. I found them at Trader Joe's. They're like $1 each. They're kind of little, but I feel like they have one of the better like macronutrient outlooks, kind of. Balance bars, Cliff bars, not the Cliff Builders. I was looking at one of those the other day, and they're pretty much straight sugar. But regular Cliff bars are pretty good.
Okay.
And the Balance bars are my favorite, I think.
Okay. And then the fast food question.
The fast food. Like I said before, moderation. You don't have to never go to McDonald's again, but just, keep in mind, when they ask you if you want to supersize it, you really don't need to. There's no reason to have this many French fries. It's not that crucial to your success. And then again, a lot of, you go to a fast food restaurant and you get the salad because you think that, that's going to be the better thing. But just keep in mind that they're kind of drenching that sort of thing in the dressings and all that sort of, extra added fat.
Bacon.
Yeah, that's not bad. So when you go and get a salad, ask for your dressing on the side, or ask for, if you're going to get a hamburger, ask them to, put the condiments and things on the side so that you can add your own, and that way you're getting what you're getting. But again, just keep everything in moderation. I mean, if you're going to McDonald's every day, of course, not really that great for you. But if you're going once a week, maybe twice a month, that's not really too horrible.
What do you think about the In-N-Out, the protein? I don't know if you guys have ever gone to In-N-Out. You can get it protein style, which is without the bun but wrapped in the lettuce. Is that a good alternative, or should we just go ahead and eat the bun if it's right after a workout, or should we just get it protein style without the bun?
The protein style is awesome. Hamburger buns tend to have a lot of preservatives. They're just straight white starchy carbs. They're not really that beneficial to you in any way. So yeah, if you can do that, that would be the way to go.
Speaking on behalf of women, those who have had kids and might be over 30, tend to, one, it's genetics, two, it's hard diet, but for those who store fat around the belly, this known as the spare tire, it's very hard to get rid of.
Yes, it is.
And I'm highly active, but, that's why I started juicing and just to sort of minimizing, I guess the bad foods. But I am having a very tough time. Now, I had a C-section too, so I'm feeling like sometimes the pulling or doing the ab exercises or lower abs I'm having a hard time. I know diet is a huge part of it. Is there specific foods that pertain to losing that belly fat?
Yes, actually, mostly though there are specific foods that add that belly fat. So if you're cooking with something, check that it doesn't have maltodextrin, things that comes from corn, so anything high fructose corn syrup, corn oil, corn sweeteners, those things make you save weight around your midsection. And what that is, ladies, that's estrogen. We can't really help that too much. That's also this little extra back here behind the arms. That's what that is. That's estrogen. The best way to combat that is to up your cardio a little bit, do more cardiovascular exercise to lean yourself out. But yeah, things such as apples and oranges are really great. Citrus does really well for burning that extra fat stores. And as for the abs, for your have your C-section thing, work more on core work rather than ab work.
Okay.
So things such as planks, side planks, do the core work, and that will help strengthen your core, probably without pulling too much.
Okay.
Yeah. Will raw corn will do that too?
Well, what?
Raw corn.
Raw corn?
Raw corn, or like corn you buy it
Oh,
on
like
the cob.
corn on the cob? No. Corn, it counts a little bit more as a starch than a vegetable, so you do want to keep it in moderation, but corn by itself, it's usually only when it's been processed that it does that, or if you cover your corn on the cob with butter and salt, that's probably not that great either. But corn by itself isn't going to do that. No, it's not. It's the things, the extracts from corn, the corn syrup, maltodextrin comes from corn, and that sort of thing makes you store that extra, get that protective layer, But raw corn won't do that.
One more question,
Yes.
sorry. How strict is the diet for somebody who wants to be as toned as maybe a fitness model type body? I mean,
That is pretty. You'd be surprised at how, for example, bikini competitors who aren't, very muscular, their diet is relatively lax. If that's something that you're interested in, that's what I specialize in, is contest preparation and private dietitian. So if you do want to do something like that, or you don't want to compete but you want to get to that level, that would be something that we would work on, where I would specially individualize your diet for you and your lifestyle. And that's more of the consultation, the private training that I would do for you. That's not really something I can do as a general.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
After workouts, is it better to drink a protein shake or have just like some healthy cereal or fruit?
That's a good question. Actually, yes. Protein shakes are really great right after you work out because since they're in a liquid form, they're called isolated, which is pre-digested. So instead of having to go through your digestive system, it can be taken straight to your muscles and used right away. So protein shakes, like those liquid, those Pure Pro things.
Those Pure Pros, cookies and cream that everybody buys like crazy.
Yeah, no, those things are fabulous.
I haven't tried them.
The cookies and cream is pretty sweet. You gotta get the chocolate peanut.
I heard the chocolate peanut butter tastes just like a Reese's.
Like a Reese's, yeah, it's awesome.
Is that possible?
Yeah, no,
Dreamy.
But the protein shakes right after a workout is the best. You have a half an hour window from when you set down that last weight for optimum uptake. If you take it outside that window, it's not that big of a deal, but, especially for you guys trying to gain lean mass, take a protein shake at least no more than a half an hour after you put down your last weight.
Or your spin, if you're taking a spin class, some of you guys I know come into spinning.
Yeah.
Or TKB, whatever it is, after that class,
try to
get some protein.
Where do they have those chocolates that you were talking about, those proteins?
Yes.
We sell them here. We have them here.
Oh.
A lot of the guys get them right after it's a recovery drink. And
like a powder?
Yeah, powder.
Okay, so for protein powders, the thing you just have to look at is read the label. Make sure that you see the serving size. The serving size should only be 1 scoop, not some of them you see and it's like 3 or 4. It should be 1 scoop. The ideal protein blend, you get at least 20 to 24 grams of protein per scoop, no more than 2 grams of fat. And again, check the saturated fat, because some of them will sneak you in there and they'll only have 2 grams of fat, but they'll both be saturated. So you want to get ones that have a really low saturated fat content and a really low carbohydrate content. It shouldn't have more than 7 grams of carbs.
is there a protein powder that you can recommend
My personal favorite is anything by Gaspari Nutrition or Optimum Nutrition. Those I feel like are the best. But those Pure Pros shakes that they have here are really good. They have a great outlook too. So if you're looking at those, the Gaspari and Optimum tend to be a little more expensive, but I've had the best success with those.
How about those shakes from Herbalife?
From a Herbalife?
Herbalife, yeah.
I don't really know much about those. Are they like a protein shake or are they like a green supplement?
Yeah, they are.
A protein? Again, just check the nutrition label and just make sure that it's got a low sugar content, a low saturated fat content, and a relatively high protein content.
You want to bring one in and have her take a look at the label,
Yeah,
and
if
she
you want to
can
bring it in and show it to
tell
me,
you.
I can totally help you out with that. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Yes.
I have a question. It's not about protein though. They say olive oil is good for you. People use them in salads. Now, can you use that, in your regular cooking every day? Can you fry something with olive oil and still be healthy?
That's an awesome question, actually. Olive oil is really good for you raw. So if you're just drizzling it on a salad unheated, it's awesome for you. It's got great omega-3s, great healthy fats. But as soon as you heat olive oil up, its chemical structure changes and it becomes entirely trans fat. So if you're cooking, cook in canola oil. But if you're eating it raw, use olive oil.
What about coconut oil?
Coconut oil? I haven't cooked in it. I don't really know. But it would be coconut oil and macadamia nut oil are great sources of healthy fats. It's just the olive oil, when you heat it up, its structure changes.
So you store less fat, use canola oil versus olive oil
when you're cooking, yes.
What about grapeseed oil?
What about what oil? Grapeseed oil? I don't really know much about grapeseed oil off the top of my head, but I'm relatively certain that, the things, because macadamia and coconut oil are fine, I would probably assume that I can look it up for you if you would, want me to. Absolutely. Anybody else?
I got another question. What about you see, we've heard for years, take a 1-a-day supplement. Your women's 1 a day, your whatever 1 a day. Yeah, multivitamin. Is that something that we should still do? Should we still try to get it from our foods? And if so, if we should be taking one, what's a good one to take? Or are there other supplements? You hear of other supplements like the guys were talking about building muscle mass, creatine, or other things that we can add to our diet or that we should add to our diet that will help us.
Okay, so as far as supplementation goes, you want to get all of your nutrients from whole food sources. So, you want to get your 10 servings of fruit and vegetables. You want to get, your servings of protein. If you, for some reason, you're traveling, you lead a crazy lifestyle and you can't really do that, then that's where a multivitamin would come in. If you're not meeting all of your vegetable requirements, then you'll want something that you gets you those B vitamins and C vitamins. But as a good general rule is to try to get those from whole foods. Things like sports performance supplements, creatine, glutamine, things like that, that's more for sports performance, sports-specific training. That's not really something that you need for an everyday life. I mean, if you do want to, you have specific goals like that, again, that's where we would do a private thing where I would set up your diet along with supplementation for your specific goals.
Like for women, iron and calcium. Can we get enough of that? Just from food?
You should be able to, yeah. Meeting your 10 servings of fruit and veggies a day, absolutely. But you can't really go wrong supplementing with calcium and iron. So if you want to, add a little, you feel like just to be safe, you want to add a little bit. It's probably a good idea. You're not going to overdose on calcium. Yeah, well, you can, but you would have to take the whole bottle, and then you'd get a stomachache. So, anybody else? Yes.
Yes, I have a question. It's for my husband. He can't be here. He's trying to lose weight, and at the same time, he's trying to build muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And like he hears all these things. People tell him, okay, well, if you want to lose weight, you got to stop eating. And then people tell him, well, if you want to gain muscle, then you got to
keep eating.
So he's like, okay, do I eat less or do I eat a lot of meat? And then as far as workout?
Again, that would be something that would be easier if we were to work one-on-one, and then I could customize something for him like that. A good general rule is if he is trying to lose weight and then build muscle, it's easier to do one and then the other. So it would be easier and probably better for his body to get lean, and then from his more lean state, build muscle from there. It's a little bit easier to do that way, because the amount of food needed to build muscle like that can be stored as fat if you don't have the workout all dialed in. So it's easier to watch changes if he's already lean. So it would be easier for him to cut weight first and then build, and then he can watch and see, oh, I'm eating too much, I'm starting to gain weight again, and, play with it from there. So